Welcome back to the F1 2020 My Team Series, Lozzer Racing. We are here today for the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm sorry that this series hasn't really happened much recently. I'm not going to say it at the start of every episode. If the next one's in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to say it again. But basically, I just haven't been playing the F1 game as much. I've been playing other games. That's the reason. Yeah, I am editing this like a week after I recorded it though, so that's also kind of my fault for just not coming to edit it. But anyway, we're back, Canadian Grand Prix. Canada's one of my favourite tracks to drive. As you can see here, we're looking at making a couple of upgrades here. We only make the one in the end, a major aero upgrade, which is a pretty big deal for us because, you know, we're not the best on aero. We also don't have the best chassis either, but there's nothing we can really do about that at the moment because the facilities have been upgraded. But yeah, let's just quickly have a look at the R&D tree. And as you can see, we are pretty much level. Well, we're not. We're slightly. Well, no, we're completely level with AlphaTauri now. We were below them in the last race. We're now completely level with them. Alfa Romeo are catching up still, and Haas continue to just be above us a bit. And for some reason on the chart, it shows that Ferrari are ahead of Racing Point, yet on the side it showed that Racing Point were ahead of Ferrari. Either way, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's because that's not where we should be, but who knows where we're going to be in this race. It's qualifying right now, so let's go and take a look and see how good we do in qualifying, because last time out we did pretty well. But as you can see, this time it's completely different circumstances. Q1, it is wet. It looks like it's going to dry up be towards the end of qualifying though, so it's going to get drier and drier as the session goes on. But in Q1 it is wet. We're on inters and we just need to try and get the best lap in we can. We just need to not put it in the wall, as I pretty much did scrape the wall there as I said that statement. And as we come to the end of the lap now in Q1, it is it's my second attempt, I believe. Yes, it is. I went for 2 runs in a row, and this is the end of the second run. We're below Callum Ilott currently, so he's managed to do a belter of a lap there, but we end up going up to P4 at the end of Q1. And as you can see, by the end of Q1, me and Callum Ilott are both through. Big shock, though, is that Lando Norris has been knocked out in the McLaren. He's in 17th place at the end of Q1. We're in 12th. Callum Ilott is in 15th. We're both through. That is excellent news. Can we both build on this momentum and maybe get into Q3? Who knows? Now, Q2 was a bit weird because this isn't something I normally do, but as you can see by the weather, Q2 starts off wet and goes dry at the end. So I thought, why waste a set of inters? I'm going to wait until the end of the session and completely risk it, go out on dries and see if it's dry enough for one, and then see if I can also set a decent lap time to get me into Q3 too. So it's a big risk, this. I literally wait until right at the end and to go and set just one lap. Normally I would do 2 laps in Q2, of course, because normally my first lap would not be good enough, but I've decided to wait all the way until the end. I was seeing what people went out in, but as you can see, Alexander Albon in the Red Bull actually set his one and only time in Q2 so far on the soft tyres, and he was 3rd fastest. So that was a weird one because literally everyone else went out on inters, but Albon there went out on the soft tyres and got the 3rd fastest time. So that confirmed to me that yes, I should go out on a set of soft tyres and try and set a lap. I was behind a car here, as you can see, but as we go further on into the lap, as you can see, we are still stuck behind said car, that car being Kvyat. Kvyat, of course, being the car just ahead of me on the timing screens. Of course, I've not set a time yet, but the fact that I've stayed behind him means that his time is going to be fairly similar to mine, and I've been I've been compromised in all the corners as well, which isn't good. But as we come to the end of the lap here, it's our one and only lap in Q2. Can we get into Q3? You best believe we can. Once again, P7 in Q2, absolutely huge for us. And as you can see as well, a few shocks there in the bottom 6. Callum Ilott finishing in 16th at the bottom. Sergio Perez, who started 2nd in Baku, will start 14th. Carlos Sainz has been knocked out. Lance Stroll's been knocked out. Pierre Gasly got the fastest lap of everyone in Q2. Now, considering that everyone went out on soft tyres, Pierre Gasly going out and setting his fastest lap and it being faster than anyone, 0.6 faster than anyone I might add, is pretty nuts. but only doing one lap in Q2 on the dry tyres means that I've got 2 goes at a lap in Q3, and I'm not even using my race set of soft tyres either, which is absolutely fantastic. Our first lap puts us in P2 for a minuscule second, as then suddenly Charles Leclerc goes faster than us into P2, and I go off the track for some reason. And as you can see, the weather's really got better now as we end our final lap in Q3. What position can we get? We're currently in P8. Can we get higher than P8 maybe? We come across the line, we get into P6. P6 in this car is amazing. Like, I don't know how I'm doing this, by the way. I've not turned the difficulty down. I've not, like, put more assists on or anything like that. Nothing has changed since the start of the series. And I'm out here getting, I'm going to spoil it now, in the last race I'm out here getting a podium, and now I'm qualifying in P6. What is going on in this series? It's the progression, at least on my end, has been super quick. I don't know how this has happened.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. The weather hasn't been ideal in qualifying. What's your take on it? Are you happy with where you'll be on the grid tomorrow? How do you feel this season is going for you? Is the car competitive? Appreciate your time.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history and could be the cause of a safety car today. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Lawrence, Vettel, Verstappen, Gasly, and Esteban Ocon, Stroll, Kvyat, Carlos Sainz, and Perez, Raikkonen, Ireland, Lando Norris, and Nicholas Latifi, Magnussen, Grosjean, Russell, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So then, the Canadian Grand Prix, and the recommended strategy is indeed a 2-stop, as it would normally be around kind of 1 set of softs to 2 sets of mediums, maybe another set of softs, who knows, but it doesn't matter as we now go to the 5 red lights on the streets of Montreal. It's lights out and away we go in Canada, and we get a great start compared to Leclerc, but we're boxed in because Ricciardo's on our inside. We look to try and go around the outside of Ricciardo, which turns the inside line into turn 2, and we do get ahead of the Renault. Albon and Leclerc going side by side in front of me, but Albon just about stays ahead, but Leclerc goes down his inside. They do bang wheels and Leclerc gets ahead of Albon. That's a brilliant start for us and a brilliant start for them as well. We're up into P5. Albon going very slowly around this chicane. I don't know why he was going so slowly. I mean, Leclerc wasn't going that slowly, and that's allowed Daniel Ricciardo to potentially come back at us again. He goes wheel to wheel with us as we try and go down his inside on the chicane. We do bang wheels, but we just about stay ahead maybe. No, he's still there. He's still on our outside. We're going wheel to wheel as we enter the hairpin there. Lance Stroll behind us as well, looking to make moves. We get a wheel on the grass and we go wide, allowing Daniel Ricciardo to get back past us. We keep Stroll behind us as well as Sebastian Vettel. But now we go onto the back straight here, and look at the speed we've got compared to Ricciardo. We've got no DRS, we're not even deploying ERS right now, we're just in rich mix. We deploy that little bit of ERS just to get that extra speed, and we get back ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, cut him off at the final chicane, and we maintain the P5. What a first lap that was. As we now move on to lap 5, and we're catching up to the two of Albon and Leclerc, who've been battling since lap 1. We're catching up to them very quickly though. We've left Daniel Ricciardo for dust, and Stroll's overtaken him. Albon's got DRS, but we've caught up to him loads. We've deployed a little bit of ERS there, and we're going to dive down his inside at turn 1. We bang wheels, but we get past. It's our corner, and we're up into P4, and we're faster than these two. We're faster than Albon, we're faster than Leclerc. We've been catching up to them all the time since lap 1, and now we're here and ready to fight for that final podium spot once again. And on the very next lap, Luke, we're catching up to Charles Leclerc so quickly. He's not got any DRS or anything to try and defend with. We're using a lot of fuel right now, though. As you can see, we're 0.4 in the red. We've used a lot of rich mix just to make it up to Leclerc. And now we've got the DRS. We look to go around the outside, but we're going to dummy and go down the inside. And once again, just like the move on Albon, we bang wheels, but we get the job done. And we're now up into P3 for the second race in a row. We are running in that final podium place. This is not where our car should be. I don't know how we've made it this far up this quickly, but here we are. We're now on to lap 8, and as you can see, we haven't managed to get away from Leclerc. That's because we've been trying to save fuel. As you can see, I must have been on lean mixture for a while, as we're now only down to minus 0.1 on the fuel. We were told to box this lap, but we decided to stay out because the soft tyres are feeling absolutely fine. Bottas has come in and Albon's come in, which means that at the moment we occupy second place on the road. Of course, that won't be after the pit stops because Bottas has pit before me. He's pit onto a set of medium tyres. We've still got Leclerc behind us. We're still going. And we've tipped a tyre on the grass there, so we've not taken that turn very well. And now Leclerc starts to respond. He's got the DRS on us here. He's got so much speed. He gets past us, but we're going to dive down his inside. We're going to try and keep the position, and we've done just that. We've just about stayed ahead of him. And as we come to the end of this lap now, the same lap where Leclerc's just tried to overtake us, we've absolutely smashed the 80 miles an hour or 80 kilometers an hour board. But we come in for our pit stop. Leclerc also comes in along with us as well. We've got slight damage to our front wing, but they're not going to change it just for that. We are going to come out ahead of Leclerc still. Kvyat is still yet to pit. He's got ahead of us, as is Lando Norris as well. And a few others are trying to get ahead of us as well. We come out of the pits just behind Lando Norris there and just ahead of Nicholas Latifi, as does Charles Leclerc as well. He also gets ahead of the Williams car. So we've come out of the pits and we're in the position we started the race in, with people ahead of us still yet to pit. I consider that a massive win. But all of a sudden Leclerc's got so much speed 2 laps later, and he's actually managed to get ahead. He's actually got ahead of us. I don't know how this has happened. We're not exactly saving fuel anymore. We're still going at it with quite a lot of beans. Not necessarily full beans, but we're definitely going with quite a lot of beans, as we nearly just slam right into the back of him on the hairpin there. Give him a chance there to get away from us, but we've got the DRS, so we're going to try and come back at him once again there with rich mix and overtake mode on. And as you can see, we're catching straight back up to him again on the back straight. We've got one more DRS straight to go to potentially make a move into turn 1, or even just make the move on the straight. Who knows? Rich mix is on overtake mode. We've just set the fastest sector 3 out of anyone, and just like we did before, we get him on the inside into turn 1, and we retake P3. And whilst that was going on, there was an almighty scrap going on behind us between Albon, Stroll, Vettel and Verstappen. It's mostly Albon and Stroll doing all the stuff, as Albon there goes down the inside of Lance Stroll and takes the position off Stroll as well. But the battle between me and Leclerc rumbles on as we have a little bit of oversteer there out of the corner, and Leclerc's got a good run on us once again. We've got standard mixture on this time, no ERS, we're just trying to defend there as we defend the line, but no! We've been hit by Leclerc! We've been hit into the wall! We've broken our front wing, and I can't believe that's happened. Leclerc's hit us, we've dropped behind many cars, and our race looks like it now could be in tatters. As we see the first angle of the replay there, I'm not really sure whose fault that was. Was that my fault? Was it Leclerc's fault? Who knows, as we now look at it on board from Leclerc, he goes to my outside there, and I come in to defend the line. Oh, I don't know if that was his or my fault. Maybe he should have backed out of it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't realise he was there. Oh, it's a tough one, but it's ruined both of our races. As we now come into the pits to change our front wing and change our tyres, Leclerc's also in the pits as well, so it has ruined his race quite a fair bit as well. We're going to put on a set of hard tyres and go to the end of the race. It probably isn't the best idea, but at the end of the day, it's a two-stop race, and we're going to try and make it a two-stop race, not lose too much time. But the hard tyres are not good around here. We've actually jumped. Oh no, we haven't jumped Leclerc in the pit stops. He's gone onto a set of soft tyres, so he'll have to stop it again, like again. And we've come out now, and we're how far behind everyone? We're nearly 9.5 seconds behind Leclerc, and we're in last place. Everyone is still yet to make their second stop, so we're probably not going to finish in last place. But right now, it's looking pretty dire, isn't it? As you can see, we're now 3 laps later, and we've actually made up quite a bit of time. We made up 4 seconds in 3 laps on Giovinazzi, but Leclerc has already overtaken Giovinazzi and Grosjean, and as you can see, Esteban Ocon is now the car in front of us, and he has made his second stop. So the fact that he, who I think he was running in like 9th or 10th or something like that, the fact that he's made his second stop and come out in front of us, we're not on for points right now. We could end up finishing out of the points as Lando Norris and Danny Kvyat and Romain Grosjean all come into the pits. So we were well ahead of Norris, we were well ahead of Kvyat, so it doesn't matter about those two. But we're in a bit of a dire situation here. We're going to have to try and make our way through the pack as best we can on hard tyres, which no one else is going to use, and they're terrible around this track as well. It's going to be a tough one, and with the car we've got, that we were up the field because of our qualifying. That's why we were so far up the field. Now that we're not up the field at all, we see that our car is not as fast as it might look in previous races. The only reason we were near the top of the field is because we qualified there. Now we're near the bottom, and this just proves my point as we're now going wheel to wheel with Sergio Perez, who's been making his way through the order as well. Of course, he started a long way down, but that racing point is faster than 14th place where he started. And just look, I'm saving fuel now. I've got 0.5% on the fuel, or 0.5 laps on the fuel. And as you can see, Kvyat's also having a go. We managed to keep Kvyat behind, but Sergio Perez gets back ahead of us in the end. And just like that, we're now in a bit of we're in a bit of a situation. We're out of the points. We're not going to be in the points by the looks of it, because Perez is going to get away from us. And we've now got a marauding AlphaTauri also trying to get past us. And as you can see, Kvyat continues to try. Sergio Perez is getting away from us. We're going to get the DRS from him, but it's probably going to be the last time that's going to happen. But Kvyat has got such a run off the corner there. He's going to go alongside us here, but we're going to brake later. We're going to turn in. We're going to try and get ahead of him, but he's spun out. Danny Kvyat spun out, and now, wow, this race has just been an absolute ton of events for us, hasn't it? We've crashed ourselves, we've now contributed to someone else spinning out. I personally don't think that one was my fault. I think that Kvyat should have backed out of that one myself. He saw me brake late there, and yeah, he should have backed out really, I think. We just touched tyres and his car went pirouetting around. And now as we come down the back straight on lap 27, we've got a yellow flag for someone, but it is behind us, which is such a shame because someone losing power ahead of us would have put us into the points. But alas, it is Charles Leclerc, the other person involved with the big accident earlier on in the race with me, has now had some sort of problem, engine, mechanical, whatever you call it. He's parked up at the final chicane, and it's such a shame for Charles Leclerc. It's such a shame. His race has been absolutely ruined. I mean, as has mine, but he's now ending it in retirement. And as you can see now, we're entering the last few corners of the final lap. We've got Daniel Ricciardo behind us. Funny that, because he was behind us right at the start of the race, and he's ending the race right behind us. Not a great race for us two who started 5th and 6th on the grid, but as we come around the final chicane now, Ricciardo's still keeping it in there, but we come around the final chicane. It's been a disappointing one. and unfortunately we end it in P11. It's just what it is, unfortunately. These things happen. We crashed with Charles Leclerc. I don't know whose fault it was, but at the end of the day, very decent performance in the end to end up in P11 despite crashing. But it could have been another podium, man.
A truly magnificent drive then, and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So there we are then, it's another Mercedes 1-2, Hamilton beating Bottas, Alex Albon takes the final podium spot. It could have been us again, man, it could have been us. But, like I said, these things happen, it's not us, it's Albon who's up there. We fluked it last race, we could have fluked it again really, just because of how good our qualifying was, but in the end, it's P11 for us. And it is what it is, it's no points, which is a shame, but what can I do about it? We just got to move on and take it to the next race, take all this anger, take all this disappointment and just fuel it into energy for the next race.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you? It looks like your rival bested you today, doesn't it? Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash? Appreciate your time.
So there we are then, that is the end of this episode of the F1 2020 My Team Series. Unfortunately, I did forget to show the drivers and constructors standings, so I've got to remember to do that at the start of the next episode. Hopefully I do. And yeah guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button down below, subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more, and if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button and you'll get a notification whenever I upload. But until next time guys, thanks so much for watching, peace.